Barak, Yahweh, Alam, Shalom, righteous family. Welcome back to TRU-TALK. I ain't gonna be too long. Take up too much of your time. If you don't know, there was a rapper from Jacksonville, Florida named Foolio. And I'm not going to speak too much about his death or his lifestyle, but I want to speak about this statement. And shout out to, I think it's called Beehive Television from Atlanta. This is where this clip coming from. But let's hear this right here, and I'll be right back. Let's hear what's being said.
What I wanted to ask both of y'all about, y'all know the recent passing of Julio. He was a drill rapper out of Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah. And he was recently killed in Tampa. And it's been a lot of conversation about what was going on with his death and what's going on in hip hop for the youngsters and stuff like that. Where his mother, you know, she released a statement saying that she wanted to do a documentary on her son and just kind of clearing the air and letting people know where she stood with his whole passing and his life and his legacy. And she said, you know, it's the story that only I can tell because I know the truth from the fakes. I think I'm the only mother that keep it real while most others know damn well what was going on with their sons. This has been going on since 2014, 15. And, you know, she went on to say that, and people asked, where's his mom? It starts from the home. Them not knowing that I stayed on him about this beef stuff, cussed him out, begged him to take stuff down. And when I was shot 8 times, I spared the lives of those, even though mine was changed. And she just basically, you know, spoke about the pain that she had to go through living with her son, you know, doing whatever he wanted to do, even though she was trying to direct him and guide him in the right direction. She just couldn't get him to go right. And she's going to tell the full story in the documentary, just letting people feel her pain and get a better and clearer understanding of how these things happen and what was really going on. Yeah. I mean, how do y'all feel as OGs and parents and stuff like that when you're raising kids and they don't want to do what's right? Or how do y'all, you know, empathize with how she feels as a mother, knowing that, you know, she felt pretty much helpless when her child was going through these things?
I got 2 words. Father figure. You know, everybody say, well, what's the mother? Or well, what's the daddy? Why the things she said did not impact or make a difference? Because a mother, bless all the mothers out there and all the women, y'all are nurturers. Y'all nurture. We feel love from y'all. We don't feel threatened by y'all. And when we get a certain age, a lot of times, as a man, a young man, you're not going to be able to tell him nothing. Only a man can raise a man. You know, growing up, my daddy never been in my life. I ain't going to say never, but it's a difficult situation. But for the most part, he hadn't been in my life. My mama would say something, and they'll go in one ear and out the other. And my daddy would come around, and she'd say, you need to check him about this. And my daddy would say it, and it'll break my heart, and I start crying in tears. It was something about that bass in his voice. I can't explain it. My mama be like, well, oh, you'll listen to your deadbeat daddy, but you won't listen to me. But even when I finally lost full respect from him, he couldn't tell me nothing. But this woman was dealing with a young man, and the truth is, She couldn't handle him. She said, you know, I beg him to take the stuff down. I tell him to do all that. He's too big for you to beat him. You don't want to put him out on the street so he can get killed. The only thing you can do is yell and cuss at him. And he's just going to shrug his shoulder and do what he wants. Because mama always going to be there. Even when I used to do stuff to piss my mama out, and I used to call myself moving out, running away, or whatever you want to call it, out of 3 or 4 days of being hungry and nowhere to go, I knock on the door. Mama will already have a plate waiting for me and say, come on back in here. You done got hungry. That's how mamas are. But my daddy, even though he did not barely do anything for me, I remember I was locked up and I had his number and I called him. And I said, my bond is just $100. I never asked you for anything. You never done anything for me. The least you can do, I'm asking, pay this $100. You know what this Negro said? He said, nope, you got yourself in there, sit down until you learn your lesson. And he meant that. And I was so angry with that man. How dare you? You never did anything for me. My whole life, you didn't do nothing for me. And this is the first time I ever asked you for anything. And you gonna try to play the father figure, you gonna say, no, learn my lesson. But now, when I look back, I appreciate he did that for me. I realized that he was being a father figure in that moment. If I would have called my mama, you know what she would have did? She would have pawned something, sold something to get her baby out. That's why every young man needs a father figure. Now, not only a father figure, but a righteous, good father figure. Because his daddy, I believe they said, died when he was young. And they said that his daddy was a gangster also. And his daddy got in a fight and somebody shot him. You know, he was out there living that gangster life and, you know, and got shot. So his daddy was not, even the little life that he lived, he was not living a life that his son will be able to follow. But he did leave a life for his son to be able to follow. Because if you know anything, if your daddy died in the hood and he was a gangster, as a young man, you try to live up for your daddy and be even gangster like your daddy, even though you never met your daddy, because people around the way would say, oh, your daddy was a gangster. Your daddy used to have them hands. Your daddy used to have them straps. Your daddy used to be serving everybody around here. And your daddy in his wickedness, we glorify the wickedness of our parents. And we say, you know what? I'm going to be just like that. I'm going to follow in his footsteps. And I'm going to rep his legacy. I'm going to be even more gangster or be just as gangster as he is. So the legend that he left behind for his son is already to go in the right path. Now, if somebody would have told him, you know, your daddy was a good man, he was there with your mama, he was trying to get y'all out of the neighborhood, he was working hard, everybody around here loved him, respected him. What happened to him was just a punk that couldn't take a loss. Then even his mindset would be a little different. Well, let me not let my dad down. Let me be a better man. So it's not just a father figure, it's a righteous, good father figure. Somebody that's gonna lead you in the right direction. And it don't necessarily have to be your daddy by physical. Christ. Josh, Joseph was not Christ's daddy, but he was. And he took on the responsibility and did a good job. Mary, before she uh, married Joseph, he already had kids. And she became their mother, their stepmother. But I'm pretty sure they just called her mother, even though they knew they weren't her real mother. And she more than likely, because she was a God-fearing woman, treated them as her own kids. So you don't necessarily have to be somebody's blood daddy to take up the responsibility of being a role model, a father figure, and a role model. You don't have to be dating and sleeping with his mother to be a father figure to a young man and a positive role model. Be that anyway. We as men, we should be that anyway. We should treat every young woman as our daughter. Every woman that's of our age, that's not our wife, we should treat as our sister. Every older woman we should treat as our mama or our aunt. Every widow we should treat as if we was their husband with no, you know, no sexual thing going on. Be there for the widows. And we should treat every young boy as if they're our son, even if we got kids or don't. Even if they got a daddy or if they don't got a positive daddy. I treat everybody kids like I treat my kids. And the same talk I give my kids, I give their kids. Well, I don't. I ain't got kids, but that's my mindset. If I had kids, I'm speaking it into existence. But that's how I would operate. Like if I had kids, I treat my kids the same as everybody else kids. And they can have a good father and a good daddy. Because I would want them to do the same to my kids. Come on, we know the saying, it takes a village to raise a kid. That's why we can't be hearers of the word and doers of the word. When we hear wisdom, when we hear it takes a village to raise a kid, we hear that and it go in one ear and out the other. And we hear it, but we don't do it. It's time that we start doing that. It had to be some older gentleman around the way where Foolio or the other gang that he was beefing with, it had to be some older guru to go out there and just talk sense to him every day. Just be real to him. And you can't do nothing without that foundation, the word, our Christ, Messiah. Let them know how special they are, how blessed they are, how they gotta behave in a way that's gonna not only please the Most High, it's gonna bring honor to the whole nation. So, and these gentlemen, the gentleman in the red hat, he actually gave a good answer. He started talking about, the Most High and the devil taking over the kids. And the one in the yellow, he was more like, I got a son, he won't listen to me. And then he turned around and talking about God, whatever, I don't believe in arguing that. Y'all can have that. And you can see why his son is like that. And even he talked about when he was younger, he was in the street, that he wasn't the best role model. So his son probably seeing him not being the best role model in the street itself, not treating his mother right, not teaching him anything about the Most High law statutes. Negro, I don't respect you. Why would I listen to you? You can tell when there's a you don't have the respect of your son when they see how, and that's another thing. Just because you a man and you're their daddy or you older than them, don't think they're gonna listen to you. They gotta respect you. There's a lot of people around the way that when they talk, I'm like, oh gee, I'm all ears. Because how they present themselves. Because they got a woman that they treat nice. Because they respect it. If you short, they'll give you a little dollar or two. They'll sit down and hit a blunt with you or sip a little bit with you, but they'll tell you some wisdom while doing it, and they're not gonna send you out there with your head on the scribble, and they're gonna tell you what you need. And OGs like that, I always respected and would listen to, because I knew they would knew what they was talking about. The wisdom showed. So just because you're an older man and you somebody daddy, like I said, my daddy, when I was 11, 12, 13, he'll say things to me to make me cry. When my mama used to tell him to get on me. Man, when I got 15 and 16, and I lost all respect for that Negro, he couldn't tell me nothing. And I dare him to put his hand on me. Because I had no respect for him because he done let me down too many times. He done said he was gonna do this and do that and never do it. Never see him. And then when I see him, he's somewhere drunk. They like, there your daddy, you need to come pick your daddy up and drag him home. I'm like, man, I'm not picking that Negro up and brought him home. I didn't bring him here. That money that he spent on that alcohol, he didn't spend it, you know, I couldn't get nothing from him. So a lot of things these young men are missing are father figures or righteous, respected father figures that can guide them in the right way. Because the truth is, that's not the mother job. The mother job is to nurture them and to teach them, but it's the father's job to lay down the rod. It takes two. If one part missing, it all falls apart. You need both. So my question to this was, why was the mother, why wasn't she able to bring Foolio in? Why wouldn't he listen to her? You know, and what to do about that? Well, that's why every young man needs a strong, righteous role model in their life. And as always, let y'all be true and every man a lie. Till next time, Shalom.